Welcome back, America. Over the last couple of years, we've been able to expose just how woke ideology has corrupted the education system from K through 12 all the way through the universities. The effort has gone from teaching your children how to think to what they should think, what liberals want them to think. Well, our next guest, he's been fighting that front and center. Aaron Withe serves as the CEO of the Freedom Foundation, and he's been up to date on all of these fights. In fact, he's in the middle of a lot of them, and he's joining us right now. Aaron, great to have you back on the show.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Amanda, for having me back.
You have been able to put a bullseye over the teachers union, over the education bureaucrats who have hijacked the system, taken us away from teaching children how to think to what to think. You've got a big project coming up this summer, and we know it's very exciting. We want you to give us a little preview of what's ahead with this conference.
Sure. So as you mentioned, John, the teachers unions over the past couple of years, they've basically taken over our public education. They've been forcing critical race theory, sex ed, all down the throats of our kids today. And what we found at the Freedom Foundation is that parents, teachers, and students alike are all against this agenda. The problem that we found specifically with teachers is that they don't know what to do. They don't know how to combat this. So the Freedom Foundation is launching the first of its kind teachers conference. We're going to get conservative, like-minded teachers all together in one room. We're going to teach them how to push back on the union's political agenda in the classrooms. We're going to teach them how to run opt-out campaigns in their school districts. We're going to get them all in one place and send them back to their school districts across America so they can take this forward.
Very exciting.
Aaron, we've seen a concerning trend. There was a video that went viral in the last week or so of a non-binary teacher, and this person, I honestly don't know if it was a man or a woman. This person said that he or she is scared because he or she feels like right-wing Christians are taking over school boards and the teachers' unions. I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like that at all to me. Is this person right?
No, they're not right. In fact, if you look at the school boards across America, especially in big cities where obviously most of our kids are going to school in America, they're controlled by teachers' unions. Those candidates are funded by teachers' unions. They're funded by teachers who are giving over their hard-earned dollars to the unions, oftentimes unknowingly. I think what we're seeing is school boards or voters start to vote the teachers' unions out of these school boards. I think that most notably last year we saw a recall in San Francisco over a teacher union candidate. I think we're going to see more of that as well, but that's really because parents are rejecting the agenda of the teachers' unions. It's got nothing to do with race or religious affiliation or the rest of it. It's more so they just don't want to see the stuff that the teachers' unions have been putting in our classrooms the past couple of years.
Yeah, many of them are teachers don't want to see it as well. They're trying to fight to stop some of this going on. Aaron, one of the places where we have a good laboratory on how this system's going to get rebalanced, Florida, Ron DeSantis, a lot of things going on from critical race theory to taking on teachers union. Tell us what you like about Florida and what it's doing right.
Governor DeSantis has been standing up to the teachers' unions for the past couple of years, and I think a lot of people have taken notice. A lot of people are obviously fleeing their home states, liberal states most of the time, to go to Florida. And one of the reasons is because of education, because Ron DeSantis is holding the teachers' unions accountable. We saw that just last week he's backing a bill in the legislature that would hold unions more accountable. It would make sure that every teacher in the state of Florida that belongs to a union is really making that affirmative decision. What we've seen across the country at the Freedom Foundation is a lot of teachers have not made the decision to belong in unions. It's been the status quo that they belong to them, and most of them don't even know that they can leave. So what Ron's doing is really putting the power of decision making back in the hands of teachers and out of the hands of state bureaucrats and teachers' unions.
Important stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think as far as joining the teachers' unions, there's a pretty strong boot on people's necks to do so. I wanted to ask you, there have been increasingly more conversations about school choice. And I think that the hope is that even if more states don't adopt school choice, that it will at least incentivize teachers' unions and schools specifically to maybe moderate a little and go back to what John mentioned earlier about teaching kids how to think and not what to think. Is that one of the unintended but bright consequences of the conversation around school choice?
Yeah, first of all, the American Federation of Children has been doing a lot of work on this over the past few years and done a really spectacular job of getting the school choice conversation to happen in schools. From our perspective at the Freedom Foundation, we think it's great. We think that if students want to be, or students and parents want to be in schools that are not failing public schools, they should absolutely have the right to do that. The problem with school choice for the teachers' unions is that it takes away funding from public schools. And what that inevitably means for them is less dollars that they can then extract from teachers and then go and spend on politics. So if you have a state that has any control, where the teachers' unions has any control over the state legislature, it's going to be next to impossible to get school choice passed. But what we're seeing a lot throughout a lot of states right now, Iowa, I think the most recent example, is that school choice is becoming mainstream because politicians are recognizing that that's what parents want. They want to be able to take their kids into schools and give them the best education that they can possibly get.
Yeah, such an important debate in our country. Another place that people don't appreciate, a lot of important regulations are coming out of, and you're fighting them tooth and nail. The Labor Department, bring us up to speed on some of the regulatory fiat that you're trying to push back against.
Yeah, I think the Labor Department, of course, is Biden of extension, the unions tool. We saw the most recent crisis come with the whole railroad strike, and we'll be sure to see plenty of more of it. The thing that I'm interested in at the federal level right now is what the new U.S. Congress is going to do. We at the Freedom Foundation are enticing them, asking them to go out and investigate the teachers' union's role into school shutdowns. I think that is something that this Congress can roll with and find out, because what we saw during COVID was the teachers' unions working in collusion with states and, of course, this new White House to go out and get schools shut down. We're now seeing the consequences of that is kids' mental health and education decline far past the rate of what the damage that COVID could have done to them. Somebody needs to be held accountable for this, and it should be the teachers' unions. We need to have Congress investigate what that looks like.
Yeah, and math and science dropping really fast too. Boy, that's a real big concern. Aaron, we love the work you do at the Freedom Foundation. We're going to get you back on real soon to keep an update on all these important issues. But thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.